T-Rod, what's going on, man?
Oh, man. Excited to be here tonight, man. I mean,
Yeah.
look, I don't know. It's funny to say excited because, we've got a ways to go, man, but I'm excited to be right here and doing this right here, man. So, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks where we haven't done a live show. For those joining us tonight, this is Oregon Football Tailgate Talk. That's T-Rod. I'm Chef Marc. We put on a big Oregon tailgate at the Masonic Lodge across from Otson Stadium during the football season. It's not the football season, but hey, we're into 2026, and we're getting, this is the first
Moving
episode
fast.
of season 2 of the Oregon Football Tailgate Talk. Which is like, it's fun to say that now. Like, we've done a season and now we're into 2026 with Oregon football. 2025 is in the past. 2026 is in the present, and we're moving forward. And I'm excited to just sit and chat with you. The Big Ten dropped their schedule release earlier this week on Tuesday. Oregon now has their schedule laid out for the season. We're going to talk a little bit more about that from a tailgating perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe go a little bit more in detail later on in future episodes. But yeah, I'm stoked, man. How's life been for you, T-Rod?
It's good, man. I mean, I've actually been fighting a little cold this week, but which is, partially, causing the memory fog probably, and why I almost forgot to renew my season tickets this week. But I mean? Come on now. So, but thank goodness U of O takes care of us and thinks of us often.
Yes.
For those of us that procrastinate a little bit. And so, yeah, man, but yeah, other than that, things are great. Yeah, we're getting close to finishing up the build here. Maybe a few more weeks there on the house and whatnot. So, yeah, excited about that. It's just a little thing that, my family's got going on over here. So yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, it's been good, man. And, there's just enough stuff going on to be able to talk about. So,
Exactly.
I'm excited to be here as well. And, just this is going to help push us through this lull, right?
This period of time, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think when I look back, I was talking to some coworkers earlier today, and man, January 2026 has gone by. It's the 30th of January. One more day to do, and then we're into February already.
And you know what, man? There's a lot of TV shows out there that wish they would have made it to season 2.
Oh, absolutely. And here we are.
We didn't get canceled.
We didn't.
We're good to go.
We didn't.
So yeah.
We got to give a shout out to my mom, Karen. Good to see you.
Hey, Karen.
Hi, T-Rod and Marc. Right on. Thanks for joining us tonight. So let's go into it once again. We got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Size New York Pizza.
Yes.
They're in Eugene, Oregon. Right on, T-Rod. You take it over, man.
Let's go. Yeah, Josh. Appreciate you, man. Hope things are going well. There is a lot of construction going on down there right now. That whole building behind Size is gone.
Wow.
Just drove by there today, and it's gone. And so there's a lot of construction going on down there right now. But don't let that deter you, folks. It's at 1211 Alder Street, right? And we're at 541-686-9598 and sizenewyorkpizza.com. They'll still take care of you. And construction doesn't make the food taste any different. It's still some of the best pizza around. So go down and see those guys down at Size.
Absolutely. Whether it's a slice or a whole pie, if you're a student down there, swing in there, grab yourself a slice and enjoy it for lunch.
And those slices are big.
They're big. I mean, they're
big
good, true New York size pizzas.
Yeah.
They're
absolutely.
Yeah. And a great sponsor of the Oregon Football Tailgate Talk. Well, let's jump into it. The last time we talked was the preview to the national title game between Indiana and Miami. I'm proud to say that we both picked the winner.
As rough
as
the whole bracket was all postseason long, we had to get it right at some point.
For those not familiar with the show, we do this segment called the Bucket of Doom. We did where we have this bucket, which is right behind me here tonight. It's right here. That's the Bucket of Doom, in which we pick games throughout the season. The top 25 Big Ten matchups each week. It's the winner or of each matchup. We each pick 5, and then we keep track and keep score. During the CFP playoff, we actually pick work through each game and pick the winners and losers. We weren't accurate. We're just fans. There was a lot of times that we were just we were fumbling through each round. But we did both pick Indiana to beat Miami in the title game. They won 27-21. Any takeaways for you? I'm assuming you watched the game.
Oh yeah, and it was honestly it kind of played out like I expected it to, as far as like how close the score was. And I think I had sent you a text or something, maybe not, I don't know, but the whole time and going into the game, after the game, I mean, I'll have to be honest with you. I mean, I felt like I felt like it was the two best teams that ended up playing. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I didn't have, thoughts of, listen, Miami shouldn't have been there, but they got their spot and they made good on it. And kudos to them for doing that, taking advantage of their opportunity. And I thought it was a great game, especially in that second half,
Yeah.
But, we, I mean, there's a lot to kind of take a look at there going into the future for both those teams going into this next season, and what does that look like for them as heavy transfer portal type of teams. Miami, I feel like they recruit better younger than Indiana does, but what's that look like for Indiana moving forward, the kind of commitments they're going to get. I'm interested to see that. And so and what the schedule is going to be for all of them.
Yeah. Well, and here's my thought on the game. Like, looking at it, I think you're absolutely right. As far as Miami, they kind of snuck into the CFP, as some would say. There was a debate in regards to, was it Notre Dame that should have made it in, or was it Miami that should have made it in? And so when Miami showed up, they actually proved that they deserved to be there, and they played like their best ball throughout the CFP. Now, they came into the playoff with 2 losses, and they didn't lose until the championship game. They played a solid team, like a lot, like big discussion that I was having with some fans afterwards, just friends and whatnot. It's like Ruben Bain, he's a beast. I mean, he is coming off the edge, is a legit like first round defensive end.
Yeah.
He'll be drafted probably fairly high, top 10, top 15, and he'll have immediate impact for one of those NFL teams. Just his body structure and the way he performs.
I think he's like 4 or 5 on Mel's board or something like that, but
how often is Mel right?
About as often as we were on our postseason bracket.
Exactly. Hey, Mel, next year come fill out the bracket with us. Not any better than your draft board. But and then on the other side you look at Indiana, and they kind of got punched in the mouth in that first couple of possessions. Mendoza getting hit like a couple times that were a little bit questionable there. And he didn't seem like he was on like he had been throughout the season, where there was balls that were missing by, the back shoulder throw wasn't there. There were a couple underthrows, a couple misses. And you didn't really see that from him throughout this season. So in the end, the thing that the difference maker was actually him and his ability to get to the end zone in that 4th down play. Yeah, so I thought it was an entertaining game. I enjoyed it, and I'm ready to move on.
He made a couple of crucial throws in that game that needed to be made, but I walked away, really just giving kudos to Miami's defense.
Yeah,
and I thought that their cornerbacks played well. Here's another thing, and if we're talking about old school Mario, not fan, but fan of the team that he coached. There's a difference in the conditioning and whatnot with these kids in Miami now than when Feld was there.
Right.
And the way that they did get some kids healthy back for that game. And but I don't all said and done, man, I walked away as a Fletcher fan. I think that
Oh yeah.
I really like that kid. And I thought he showed well for himself throughout the postseason. Probably my favorite player in Miami if I was to have one. So, I don't know. Kudos to them, man. They
Yeah.
took advantage of it.
Right on. The other takeaway, and I think a lot of Oregon fans have mentioned this, but that's 2 years in a row in which our only losses have been to nice national uh, title winners.
Yeah.
Here's another thing that I thought of: 2 years in a row in which national title winners came to Autzen Stadium and played. How about that? Like, I don't think that that's ever happened
Yeah.
back to back years.
Yeah.
You would have to probably go back multiple decades, right? I think USC was probably that. Like, did USC play at Oregon when?
That Reggie Bush year.
Yeah,
Yeah, at Oregon.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
So that was the last time. So I mean, 20, 25, 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's hey, we're in the Big Ten. It's a different level of ball in which you're playing these teams in which you're producing national title winners every single year. So
Yeah.
um,
It's going to be interesting to watch that SEC Big Ten debate this off season, right? As
yeah,
everybody's handing out off season natties,
exactly. Well, that's three in
Yeah.
a row.
Yeah.
The Big Ten. Us Big Ten fans um, are,
It is until you take it.
exactly, exactly. So, well, let's turn the page.
Yeah.
For 2025. That season's gone. Let's move on. And before we get there, background on my TV behind me, I got to give a shout out to the big Oregon tailgate crew.
The family.
Dude, this is what we do. Like, so
Yeah.
for those of you who haven't been to our tailgate, this is kind of our crew. You'll see photos up there of what we do on the weekends in the fall.
Yeah.
And it's a blast just to look back and be like, oh yeah, that was such a great game, such good memories.
Yeah.
And that's part of why we do it, is to create those memories, create those experiences. Not only part of the game, but it's a whole experience of like doing the tailgate, going to the game, coming back, talking after the game, hanging out. We try to make it more than just a game, right? So it's a lot.
I mean, our favorite thing is for you to be a first timer at a tailgate party, first time at Autzen Stadium, or a game at Autzen Stadium, any game, period. But that's that's the best. Every time I get introduced to somebody that has brought their family or their friends, to our tailgater, just because they enjoy the vibe, the atmosphere, the food, and everything that comes with that. But they're bringing the first timers,
right?
That's like the best part, and I don't know. I take pride in that part of it because I want us to be that destination, for those people that want to do that.
Yeah, and like you said, it's like making that first time experience just like even more memorable. Where they're like, oh my god, we went to this tailgate, then went to the game, and it's just something that they talk about. Something those stories will be shared for many.
Well, I think if Polar Bears, I think it was his uncle or his cousin.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken,
his uncle.
We finished number one tailgater of the season of the 25 stadiums or whatever tour that he was doing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we finished number one.
Yeah, a friend of the tailgate, Polar Bear, or Jack. His uncle came and visited us, and he was through the bowl season. He was visiting a stadium every single day, and the way you could like sequence it out. What an incredible journey! And like maybe someday we do that.
You know what? I mean, we'll take this on the road one of these days, man.
Yeah.
We will take this on the road one of these days.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right. Well, on Tuesday afternoon, the Big Ten released the 2026 college or Big Ten football schedule. for each.
The highly anticipated.
Highly anticipated, because I think we were the last.
Come on.
As they say, save the best for last.
Yeah, well, come on. I mean, it's.
Hey, when you win 3 natties in a row within
Yeah.
the conference by 3 different schools,
Yeah.
yeah, we're a Big Ten podcast, I guess. I mean, it took some adjustment, and we'll get into the schedule a little bit here. But yeah, so they released each school schedule, football schedule for the upcoming year. Oregon has 7 home games, 5 road games. Let's just kind of go through it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to read through the schedule holistically, and then I'll have you give your take on the schedule holistically. I'll give my take holistically, and then we'll kind of break it down by month and look at it from rather than a football sense. We are the Oregon Football Tailgate Talk, so we're going to talk about it from a tailgate perspective.
Yeah,
a little bit different.
We have to.
This is what we do.
Yes.
And we're just fans. So I'll start off. September 5th, Pac-12, Boise State comes to Autzen. Yeah. Pac-12, Boise State comes to Autzen. Yeah. First game in their Pac-12 history. They'll be coming to Autzen Stadium.
Out of conference.
Pac-12 Big Ten matchup. Then Oregon goes on the road September 12th to Oklahoma State. Last year we faced Oklahoma State at home. Big 12 Big Ten matchup. The following week, September 19th, Portland State from the Big Sky Conference comes to Eugene, down from Portland. So we have a home matchup versus Portland State. The following week, September 26th, we go down to the LA Coliseum and face off against the USC Trojans for our first Big Ten game of the year. Following week, we have a bye week. So week 5 is a bye. Week 6, UCLA visits Oregon. So second Big Ten matchup is UCLA at home, followed by Nebraska on October 17th, also at home. Mm-hmm. Following week, we go to Illinois. They're in Champaign, Illinois. Oregon goes on the road to face Illinois. The following week, which is October 31st, if I have my calendar correct, that says Halloween. We'll talk about that a little bit more here shortly. We face off against Northwestern. The following week, we go to Columbus, Ohio to face Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Week after that, we come back home, face off against Michigan. First time Big Ten matchup for Michigan versus Oregon at Autzen Stadium. We'll go into that a little bit more here when we talk about November. I do recall that game some 24 years ago.
Lloyd Carr's Michigan coming to town.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I bet.
And then the following week, we go out to East Lansing, Michigan to visit Michigan State. And then we come home for our rival matchup versus the University of Washington on Saturday, November 28th. That is our Oregon football's regular season schedule for 2026. Your thoughts, T-Rod?
Yeah, man. And I'm just kind of looking at it here because it's the one main question I've had, and again, I don't, haven't been going to the lab or anything like that, and so I mean, I'm sure it's been talked about, but everything's fine and dandy. First of all, PTSD with I don't care if they're part of the Pac-12 or not, with Boise State coming to Autzen as the first game of the year. Just right. PTSD there because that's always been what's going to happen, right?
Right.
Going to Oklahoma State, they're going to be improved, but how much? That still remains to be seen. And then PSU, right? And so here's the way I look at how this all plays out, and we got to go at USC. People look at, PSU, yes, you're going to, we should handle business, be done, and have the, third and fourth guys in there, early in the game. to the point maybe they're the only ones that play, right? But you want to stay sharp. But it's after that bye week, right? And I don't know, do you get to sit guys, halfway through the third quarter against Boise State? Or do you get to sit them halfway through the third quarter against Oklahoma State on the road? Those are the questions that you have to ask yourself when you only have one bye, and then you run an 8 game gauntlet after that. And so, my question has always been this since the beginning is how or does he adjust? And if he does, how does he adjust? Coach Lanning, with the physicality of his practices that is well known, to anybody that listens to anything, well known about the physicality of their practices through the week.
Mm-hmm.
Is there going to have to be an adjustment and be made there to make sure we stay as healthy as possible going into the postseason, because we saw what that did this postseason. And not that that's any fault of anybody's, but with an 8-game stretch with no buys, one bye in week 5, which, after one game on the road against USC. So is there adjustments there? Does he learn from those things and make adjustment throughout the season to make sure that these boys are as healthy as possible?
Yeah, no, that's a good perspective. And that was my first initial response, was that week 5 bye. It's so early in the season. And then, you have 4 games under your belt. Really looking at that schedule, Boise State, I think, as you alluded to, they've always played Oregon tough. We can talk about, going and playing, what bowl game was that in Vegas? And we don't want to go into that, but nonetheless,
no.
There's been games in which Boise State has given it to us. They play up to us. They play a good game against Oregon, and I think it's fun to see their crowd come, or their fans come over, from the east, from Idaho over to Eugene, and enjoy it. But you're right. Boise State does present a challenge. I think Oklahoma State, once again, their new coach, new quarterback, a lot of transfers into that program once again. So that'll be interesting. And then you have that Portland State USC, and then the USC game is going to be a tough game, like it was this year. And they're going to be ready to play. And you're on their home field. So it'll be interesting. Then you go to the bye, and then after the bye, it's 2 home games, and then it's every other week, road, home, road, home, road, home. And so I think I like that part, where it's not just like double road game or double home game. It's like it's double home game and then road, home, road, home, road, home, which allows a little bit more time for that recovery, potentially, if you need it. But yeah, it's going to be a gauntlet. Those last.
But there's also a rhythm in traveling. There's also a rhythm there, right? That you can find. So, and I don't know. I don't think travel has really been a deficiency for us. I think Coach Lanning and the staff has had these guys ready to go on the road, and so I love the way that every other week plays out. Right, and I think it's also fortunate that you get the 2 home games after the bye, because you always want a bye to come later in the season. Everybody can rest up and and get that, but by week 5, you're just starting to find some good rhythm. And you're really starting to find out what your team's about and who's going to be what, right? But the beauty of this schedule, though, with the Boise State and then going on the road to an Oklahoma State, it's not like it's a Portland State in that first game. So, you are going to, be forced to be ready to go right off the bat. So, and listen, with the people that are returning, come on, how much is that going to mean, to be getting into that rhythm, that uh, coordination, that camaraderie with your guys,
Yeah.
And really start finding those, key relationships.
Yeah. Before we get kind of breaking down each month here and talk about it from the tailgate perspective, something I was just thinking about is like when you think about how the preseason practice and preseason, run up to the season, it's really a 4-week preseason, right? Where they start practice, live practice 4 weeks before the first home game. So you have that the preseason followed by 4 games in a row, a break, and then 8 games in a row. So really, it's like first segments for preseason with those 4 games. You get one week off, followed by 8 game stretch, and hopefully at that point you get 8 game stretch. Does that put you in the conference title game? And then you have 1+1, and then at that point, how does your seeding go? Do you have additional buys? Because the CFP has not changed and not pushed up the schedule. If anything, it extends out further because the national title game this coming year is on January 25th.
It's so bad.
Dude,
So bad.
that's like
Yeah.
360 days from today.
Yeah.
That's just nuts. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's get into like what we do, man.
Let's
we're
do
the
it.
Oregon Football Tailgate Talk. T-Rod and I, amongst Belize and Cindy and Mike and Joe and I'm probably blanking on other people that all contribute to what we do each and every single week there at the Big Oregon Tailgate.
Yeah.
And how we shake it all out.
It definitely takes a village.
It does take a village, and I don't know why I blanked. I didn't think I was a name off everyone, but yeah, you see them all up here. They all contribute. They're in our group chat and everything else. We can't do it without you. If I left you out, I apologize. But and this month of September, we're gonna go Boise State week off, Portland State, and then we go into the bye. So 2 games in the month of September, and traditionally, like we've set up in the month of September where we're dripping sweat because it's so hot. But anything you're kind of looking forward to in those two those tailgates? It's always nice to get back together with the crew. That first game, it's like kind of like just like that coming home type tailgate. Anything in those 2 tailgates that you're kind of looking forward to, like as far as like I know there's a lot of stuff that isn't in it. It's unscripted. People show up. People do, have a good time. You don't know who's going to show up, but like you hope to see the people that you haven't seen in
yeah, I think it's the spring tailgate is always that there's the kind of that tie that binds end of season to beginning of the other season. So I like that. If I want to count that as one of those games, which I always do, because I always kind of want to treat it like it's his own game, even though it's just a different, not as many people, and maybe we set up a little smaller or whatever. But when it comes to games in September, and how do you plan for that? Yeah, I mean, fortunately for us, we are like the most shaded spot in the Masonic
Law. The trees are out.
Yeah, so we have that to our benefit, which we know is 10, 15 degrees cooler over there, depending on when the sun's up, right? And so it's that, but it's for that, it's an evolution thing,
right?
In other words, swamp cooler type fans, what's the next level for us and our entertainment, and that what we want to bring in the comfortable atmosphere that we want to offer. Yeah, we can keep it 15, 20 degrees warmer in the wintertime. Now the goal is, can we get it 15, 20 degrees cooler when it's 95 out, 100 out. So yeah, that's kind of what I look forward to this next September, and getting ready for those games, and then also just connecting with everybody again, seeing everybody again. I mean, we put out the you put out the Halloween tailgate, which we
Yeah.
can talk about, but I look away from my phone, I come back to my phone, 30 minutes, 40 minutes later, and there's 46 responses and a bunch of text message in there, or messages in there about the Halloween tailgate. And Cindy, and I think it was Cindy and her
Yeah.
meatloaf mummies or
Oh
whatever. And
yeah.
the
Yeah.
ideas start popping, and that's
Yeah.
and that's why we do what we do,
Well,
right?
and
We
we'll
start
get
thinking about it
into
now.
yeah, we'll get into that one because it does stand out. But yeah, when I think about September, I think Mother Nature does present us a different challenge than uh, October and November, or late
Yeah.
October, November, where we bring the heat in, we bring the fire pits in, and those environments, and so it's a little bit different. But the tailgate scene is a lot of fun because the nights are long, it's late. Generally, we get done with the game. It's daylight until 9:30,
Yeah.
and we hang out and have a good time. And that cool evening air in the early fall is like some of the best here in Oregon. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I look forward to that and just hanging out, having a good time, having those days where we're sitting there around the TV at the tailgate
Mhm.
in the evenings, watching the games, watching the competition of teams versus each other, just playing back and forth, and
Yeah.
it's always a blast. We generally have YouTube TV on, so we have multiple games on. Generally have four, unless there's one that's really kind of clicking, and we go, okay, let's go live to that. But nonetheless, it's a good time, and I look forward to it. The one thing I would say is that in the past when we've had Boise State, their fans do travel, and I think I mentioned that
Yep.
earlier. Their fans do travel. There's a lot of blue, and we've had blue inside our tailgate,
Yeah.
and they've always
Yeah.
been great and cordial, and have had a really good time. A Luke and his family, I think his son goes to Boise State, or his nephew goes to
Yeah.
Boise State.
Yeah.
His daughter went to Oregon with Mike Lee's son, Cameron,
That's a great
and
family there. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
a friend of the tailgate. Honestly,
Yeah.
uh, we Rose Bowl tailgated with Luke and his family, and they put on a good show. It was good times.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe we'll see them for Boise State this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just can't wait. I'm really excited for that. Portland State's going to be one of those interesting ones. I think it's to me it's the team that's missing is Oregon State, right? Like, and it's the first time that we haven't had them on the schedule, so that will be
It was
interesting
weird.
as
It
well.
was weird looking at the schedule, but then I did see an OSU, so I was okay with at least
Okay,
the three letters being up there that
right,
gave you some sort of sense of normalcy.
right, yeah,
But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, that's a game that I ask, again, is that one that you keep for nostalgia, because it's not anything that it doesn't benefit us,
yeah,
and and I hate to say that because I don't hate the Beavs.
yeah. I've had some conversations about the Beavers and what they have done with their coaching staff,
Yeah.
what they've done there, and it'll be interesting to see how they perform within the Pac-12 this coming year. You have Oregon, you have Boise State, probably up closer to the top tier. You have San Diego State, same thing. They're they I think they were 10-2 or 10-3 on the season after the bowl game. So kind of in that realm. Fresno State, depending on the year and how they perform, but Matt Williams, who's on here, I'm not sure if he's on here now. I'm going to go out there on a limb. Oregon State wins the Pac-12.
Oh
I will put it on here.
man.
Now you know me. I'm like, hey, screw it. But like Boise or Oregon State did what they did, but I really like the structure of their coaching staff, and they know ball, and I think that they're going to do it. I'll put it out there. You heard it here first.
Man.
Um,
Well,
that was my
Matt is
pick.
kind
And
of
so,
probably
what does
he's
that
probably
mean?
closet. He's probably closet Beav fan just because he's right there in the backyard.
Oh, Matt. Yeah.
He can't lie.
Yeah. Well, I was having a conversation with him. I agreed. I said those were my words, that Oregon State wins the Pac-12. And what does that mean? T-Rod, if they win the Pac-12, right? Are they the group of 6 in the CFP?
that would be so wild, man. I'm writing it right down here on this page right now. Mark picks the Beavs.
Yeah, so I'm going to start it off just to get some discussion going here. So those Beaver fans that want to give Oregon a hard time, or Oregon fans a hard time, don't forget that you heard it here first, that this Oregon Duck called it out.
Look at Mark trying to endear himself to Beaver fan.
I'm not even trying. I'm just looking. I'm like, hey, if anyone wants to see my CFP picks, you know how good I am at picking games. And so, that's a long shot. I'm not sure if we can get some money on that in Vegas or not, but there you go. Matt, you looked that up. So let's move into the month of October, right? Yeah. We start off the month with a bye, right? October 3rd is a bye, and then followed by 3 games at home in 21 days. We have the 10th, the 17th, the 31st.
Yeah.
And we go on the road that month to Illinois. So 4 games still in the month of October with the bye happening early. It's a long month, 31 days, but you get that bye. And then it's UCLA, Nebraska. Go to the road, and then we'll talk about the Halloween game. So thoughts on the UCLA, Nebraska tailgate?
Well, that's always the time of year you start, making sure you bring the leaf blower with you, or at least somebody has one or can go get one, because we need that there. And it's, it's always, it's a weird time, right? Because it could still be 78, 80 degrees during the day, and then it wants to drop down to 45, 50 at night. And at that time of year, or, you start that's chilly.
Yeah.
Right. The body starts to adjust. We as Oregonians, we start to adjust our body to go with the seasons. I like, how the schedule itself plays out for the team. But I really like the fact that, listen, we get to have 3 tailgaters in the month of October, ending with that Halloween game.
Yeah.
So much fun and preparation, leading up to what is going to be an epic tailgater. Even doesn't matter what time of the game is. Right. And here's the thing is, anybody listening to this, understand, people, the Big Oregon Tailgate Party is going to be a place you want to come and trick or treat.
Yes.
Bring the kids down. Get some
candy.
Ahead of, come on in.
The skis here. We're still stuck on UCLA, Nebraska. We'll get into
but you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that all of this leads up to that. But the fact that we get those 3, we get a little spoiled.
Yeah.
Right. In the month of October for tailgate parties. And coming off the bye, the UCLA game tailgate is any tailgate coming off a bye at home is always just because we're ready to go again.
Yeah.
And knowing that, we have to plan from that point on.
Yeah. Well, between Portland State and UCLA, it's I was looking at it. It's 3 weeks, so it's 21 days.
Yeah, you have USC, and then there's that bye, right?
Yeah. So between Portland State, which is our last tailgate of September, all the way to UCLA is 21 days. So that's 3 weeks of us not hanging out, not having a good time. We're gonna be itching at the bit because that's what we do.
And it's still UCLA coming to town.
Exactly.
With their new head coach coming from JMU, right? He was just here.
Yep.
He was UCLA coach when he was here.
Yeah.
Right. And so, of course that tailgate's going to be ready to go.
Yeah.
Just because we're going to be happy to be back at it.
Yeah. And then the following week we do Nebraska, which, how Nebraska travels. Nebraska came and visited us just over a decade ago. and yeah, they traveled
Oh yeah.
strong. Their fans show up. I remember going to a Oregon versus Nebraska volleyball match last season in 2024, and man, that place was packed. It was like Matthew Knight Arena was jam packed. It was like 60-40. Now that
Yeah.
Nebraska was ranked number one as far as the volleyball team goes, but Nebraska will travel. There will be a lot of red.
There will be.
That game will be a sellout. That game will be
Yeah.
full, even with Matt Rule and
Nebraska's
his team.
Nebraska to me is their fans are different, but
Yeah.
is like a Miami.
Yeah.
You know, maybe eventually becomes like a Florida, you know, where they're, you know, their fan base is, but they're a sleeping giant.
They are.
Is for Nebraska will always be a sleeping giant to me. I mean, when the schedule came out, I'm like, we get Nebraska and Michigan at home.
Right.
This is like this was the benefit of joining the Big Ten was these games at home. Now.
Exactly.
Games that we couldn't get these guys to come out here. Now they have to, but we get a benefit from it.
Yep.
You know, as long as you remember to get your season tickets renewed. You know,
exactly, and that was smart on your behalf. I heard from another friend, same thing. A text message screenshot. Hey, he locked in his season tickets as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm stoked because you see that Nebraska. Then we go on the road to Illinois, and I think when I look at the schedule and I look at it from a tailgater's perspective, I'm a tailgater. T-Rod's a tailgater. We're the Oregon Football Tailgate Talk. We host the big Oregon tailgate there at the Sonic Lodge, and to hold a tailgate on Halloween is going to be something that we're going to tell stories about because
oh man,
it'll be unpredictable. I can't really say, but there's been we've been talking about menu, we've been talking about costume contests, we're talking about just the good vibes of the trick or treating and going around and having kids going from tailgate to tailgate. I think you got to coordinate that and get people in on that so that, we can send the kids going tailgate to tailgate all throughout and making sure that it's just, they have a blast because, hey, Halloween is one of those events that's culturally just part of who we are. It'll be fun.
There's so many, because, before I got, older, didn't want to do it, I would just go and set things up out here in front of my house where I got dressed up. I scared the kids in the neighborhood. I set up little, Halloween walks, of horror, if you will, and so there are so many things that start going through my head as far as the setup itself and what the capabilities are and what can we do with this. And so it will be like no other come that Halloween.
And what a unique experience to be able to do that because it's not only our traditional tailgate where we're doing the food, the games, the the cornhole, all that fun stuff, but just thinking about it from just the planning perspective, some of the unique foods that we can do, whether it's Jello brains or I saw a dip that's brain shaped and some of the stuff that's a little bit funky, but it's Halloween, so it kind of makes sense. And the pumpkins and whatnot. I think it's going to be one of those ones where you're going to want to experience it, and I think a lot of people will talk about it, and it'll just be a lot of fun. So and then you have a ball game to go to. You have a football game to go to, and it's Chip Kelly's offense coming into Autzen Stadium at Northwestern, which is another unique experience. So is he wearing a costume as the Northwestern offensive coordinator, or it'll be interesting to see.
That would be the game if you had an old Chip visor with the fake hair, or with the fake hair visor. Return that on Halloween night and break that out.
How many Chip Kellys are going to be in the stands?
Exactly.
That's the kind of stuff you're going to see, and I was talking with a group of people that we sit with, and like, are we going to do a group costume? You know, like there's 8 of us, four, and then 4. Are we going to do a group costume? So you know, it's like, and just to
Yeah.
see that and walk, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
it'll
And
be
again,
fun.
and then again, there's Chip Kelly landing another job.
Yeah.
Mark, like I said, man, just give me one season contractually, one season as something. I'll make good on it, you know, because no matter how bad I am, I'm going to keep getting another job.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Matt, I'm glad you're here, bud. I'm glad you're here. All right. Well, let's turn the page into November, and so we start off the month of November, going to Ohio State, followed by a home game versus Michigan, then going to Michigan State, and then followed by our last home game versus Washington. Um, Thoughts on those first 2 games, and then we'll touch on the last 2. How about that?
Well, you know, this is a November that could go down in the history books, right? You take out Michigan State, but you know they've got a new coach coming in. I think it is right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is he going to be able to get them back to where they've been? Who knows? But when you look at those other 3, you know, regardless of how good, how bad, you know, the Huskies are, but when you talk about Ohio State and Michigan back to back, you know, having to go out, you know, and to OSU, back for Michigan there. Those first 2 games are going to set the tone, obviously, for the rest of the season and possibly going into postseason.
Yeah.
You know, and this is where, you know, from a football or from a fan perspective, you're like, are we going to be how are we going to manage our healthiness?
Right.
You know, and how's the staff going to manage that? Because you know we want to be as healthy as possible going into this little gauntlet,
Right.
right? Especially those first 2 games, you know. But we're at Ohio State from a tailgate perspective. If we can go out there and get the W, what does that Michigan tailgate look like coming back home?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, you know,
Exactly.
come on.
And they have a new coach. Woody Ham from Utah is now their head coach there
Yeah.
in Ann Arbor. And so, I mean, he's bringing the Michigan Wolverines to Autzen, which he's familiar with. We've had some battles with Utah over the years. You know, some really good games. I think it's going to be a really good game. The Michigan crowd will travel just like the
Oh
Nebraska
yeah.
crowd
Yeah.
will travel. When I think about like one of my fondest memories of being in college and going to a game, it was that Michigan game, and you just like the tailgate that they put on. Like I remember like working that tailgate and then going to the game, and I'm like, dude, there was thousands and thousands of people. Like it was
Yeah.
huge, and so Michigan will travel. They always travel. They have the largest alumni base in the United States, and especially on the West Coast, there's a large contingent of Michigan fans, and they're going to want to come to Autzen. So that will be another one that will sell out. There will be another one where the tailgate will be popping. And yeah, November it kicks off, like you said, Ohio State, Michigan. Like that's why you're in the Big Ten, to play
Yeah.
Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah.
You throw Penn State in there. You throw Indiana in there. You throw USC in there. Like those are the behemoths of the league. And so you start off that really sets a tone. What I really like about it is the fact is I would need after the Halloween versus Northwestern hosting the tailgate. I'm going to need a week off just to recuperate, just kind of like put things away, organize things. because there's
Oh,
going to
man.
be stuff that we bring to that one that we
Oh,
probably
man.
won't bring to other ones, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be,
Yeah.
we won't go into. It'll be a surprise. Hey, show up and
Well,
you'll
and
find
that's
out.
it. That's it, right? I
Yeah.
mean, and let me add this is it'll be interesting because I've never been to Michigan. Don't really know if I care to go there unless I was going to go for a game. But if you were to describe to me, a Michigan coach, he kind of just to me fits that bill.
It does. Yeah.
That blue collar Detroit,
Tough nosed.
production line, auto guy, with his freaking big sledgehammer thing pounding dents out of fenders, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, I was actually kind of excited for Michigan fan when they named him as head coach. Maybe he is just kind of a band-aid for right now until they find another guy, but I don't know. I think he has the potential, obviously. And I would like to see him be successful because I've always liked him, not against us per se, but be successful. And I think he's a good fit for them, and maybe he sticks around longer than they think. So we'll see.
And a good, healthy Michigan is good for the Big Ten.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
that's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
When there's a healthy rivalry between Ohio State and Michigan, it's good for the Big Ten.
Well, what does Michigan have to do to get out of scandal? Man, they've back-to-back seasons, man. It has not.
It's been longer than that, but
Boy.
nonetheless, they need to right the ship at this point.
Yeah.
Speaking of Michigan, after we have Michigan at home, we go to Michigan State. So we have a road game the week before Thanksgiving, and then we have Thanksgiving followed by our last home game versus Washington, which is the first time Oregon. Wait, we did face Washington in the first Big Ten season at after Thanksgiving. Yes, we did.
Yes.
Yes, and that was a beatdown. And so, no, it'll be good to have that game once again. It's just kind of like culmination of the season. It's a good, healthy rivalry. I always have a good time when it's Oregon versus Washington week. It's just the fans are hyped up, they're ready to go. We don't like each other. We will never like each other, and that's okay. I'm okay with that, and I think that from a tailgate perspective, it makes it fun. There are a few Washington fans that will show up, and
there's probably going to be some a couple of cases, I'm guessing, that of some milk-bone dog biscuits that are going to be coming flying out of our hands out to them on the sidewalk as they walk by, just because, well, I thought that was the funniest thing ever, man, when they threw the bread. I've been to a few Husky games at Husky Stadium, but I've never walked a lot like that.
Oh yeah, getting
And
tossed.
so to get the bread thrown at you, oh man,
kids coming up and throwing.
Kudos to Husky fans for that, because that, first of all, was hilarious for one, surprising for another, but then also the ideas start to go because our location right on the sidewalk. I may set up a release up in the tree above and just drop milk bones everywhere.
Hey, like even like doggy bags and like we could like all sorts of like good stuff. But, I think that looking at this whole schedule, I'm really excited about not only the games that we have at home, but like the tailgate and how it sets up. For us hosting it is a challenge to do it week after week after week. So only having back-to-back games one time is nice. Everything seems to be fairly spaced out and fairly like easy to accommodate and whatnot as far as like the planning perspective. Part of what we're going to do here on Oregon Football Tailgate Talk during the off season here is to kind of break down each one of these games a little bit more in depth. Maybe like brainstorm some of the menu items that I kind of bring to the forefront, and it just gets some planning out of the way because it does take a lot of work. And it's a lot of different ideas about what we do each and every other
One
week.
understanding that
Yeah.
this is the first season in the last 2 to 3 seasons that we've actually been able to know that we can at least plan this. Knock on wood that nothing dramatic happens, but the fact that we now know that we have our spot.
Right.
You know, that's in itself allows for this to take place.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm excited about it. You know, it's a preseason planning party here. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. You see right here, this is the view from our tailgate right there. It just moved, but there was the fire pit with the bucket of doom hat in it. So yeah, no, it'll be a blast. It'll be fun. Just kind of like plan that out from the logistics standpoint. The thing that we don't know are game times.
Yep.
Those probably won't come out until later on into the summer. A lot of the later games we won't know
But
until
the planning happens, and then Chef Marc just has to throw in plan A2.
Yes.
So there's and that's that's where the pressure gets heavy on Chef Marc. So
absolutely. Well, I think that's pretty much it for this episode. Once again, we're Oregon Football Tailgate Talk, brought to you by Size New York Pizza. They're in Eugene, Oregon. Hit them up there on campus.
Let's go.
1211 Alder Street. Say hi to Josh for us. Grab yourself a slice. Grab yourself a pie. We're going to try to do pretty much every other Friday night at 6:30. Do these lives as our schedules permit, just to keep you guys engaged. Keep us engaged. I miss this guy.
Listen, anybody that wants to come in on the chat, I want you to come in. I would love for you to come in, but I'm also just a little selfish that I will sit here and just talk about whatever, because it just takes one day off of the calendar at a time.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yep.
One day.
Yep.
Let's go.
T-Rod, it's been a blast.
As
always. What do we say?
Man. Let's go. Go Ducks.